Hello, my friends. Welcome to me, your host, Christian Watson. So, I come to you guys on a very somber occasion the death of Daunte Wright, who was a 20-year-old black man who was shot by a police officer in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, which is not too far from Minneapolis geographically. And Officer Kim Potter, who is a 26-year veteran of the Brooklyn Center Police Force, according to the Wall Street Journal, was involved in the shooting. So, what happened was Mr. Wright here was on a warrant, and the officers tried to detain Mr. Wright, and unfortunately, after he re-entered his vehicle to try to evade that detention, an officer thought they were pulling for their taser. They actually pulled for their gun and they shot him. He drove for a few blocks and struck another vehicle, and he unfortunately succumbed to his injuries. So immediately after this, I thought to myself, when I heard about everything, because after this there were riots on Sunday, then there were more riots on Monday. In fact, there are police who are having to protect certain places around the state that are being assailed by Molotov cocktails and violence and all kind of other just rage, baleful rage. With the same kind of sort of ideological phrases, say his name, another black man shot by law enforcement. In fact, the governor of Minnesota said, him and his wife, Gwen and I are praying for Daunte Wright's family as our state mourns another life of a black man taken by law enforcement. So the blood was still fresh in that car, and they still decided to make this a political issue without, number one, knowing all the facts. And in fact, on this very day, Tuesday, April 13th, 2021, we still don't know all the facts. There is still an investigation going on. But unfortunately, the family of Daunte Wright is not willing to also say that it was an accident. They are grieving. I understand this. And let me just say I send divine blessings and love and peace to you guys. May God bless you. Daunte, it's unfortunate what happened to him. And nothing in this analysis is meant to erase your pain or to make you feel as if you are unjustified in how you are feeling. Now, having said that, again, it was not too long until people like Ben Crump, who is this very famous civil rights attorney who goes around the country handling cases, typically handling law enforcement cases, and essentially pushes the same narrative that black men are being hunted by the police in every single case he takes. It wasn't too long until he decided to go and take this case and begin pushing the narrative that Daunte Wright was the victim of systemic racism. Kamala Harris immediately said that people will keep dying. In addressing the death of Daunte Wright, people will keep dying. This is her words. If the country does not address racial injustice, the Obamas also had something similar to say. They said this is also a reminder of just how badly we need to reimagine policing and public safety in this country. Our hearts are heavy over yet another shooting of a black man at the hands of police. So again, the narrative that is being pushed by the governor of Minnesota, being pushed by Kamala Harris, the vice president, being pushed by the Obamas, is a narrative that is meant to enshrine the destinies of African Americans in this state of fear, this state of constant attack, this state of constant assailing. And it's so interesting that regardless of the facts of the case, which are still developing as we speak, this is the determination that so many make. Now, a lot of people on the right are saying, okay, he shouldn't have fled, he shouldn't have tried to run, and look, regardless, that may be true, but he didn't deserve to die. People on the left are saying, oh, well, this is an example of systemic racism. That's not, it's possible to make a mistake. I think that both sides are missing the important principle behind this. This is the principle of human fallibility. Humans, my friends, are fallible creatures. We have finite energy, finite knowledge. And we who have finite energy and finite knowledge cannot possibly act in the most perfect way in every circumstance of our life. We can try to get it right. We can try to act in ways that might resemble the most perfect way, might resemble the most responsible way. But still, a lot of people are omitting the possibility that this was simply an egregious, but still an egregious form of human error that should be corrected, but should not be understood within the framework of a racial attack on all black people in America. That is what we're missing here. We're not engaging in an ontological understanding of why these things happen. We're simply essentializing the causes of these things to be race, simply because this is race adjacent. The person who suffered this death is black. And so this is the same thing that Ibram X. Kendi does in How to Be an Anti-Racist. He takes race-adjacent things that had an impact, incidentally, on people of color, and says that they are inherently racist. So he takes Reagan's welfare cuts, which had an impact on people of color, as being racist. Not as being a product of a mentality of self-responsibility or personal responsibility. No, for him, because they are black-adjacent, they have to be racist. This is simply a guilt by association fallacy. This is nothing more than a fallacious kind of reasoning. But I also find something even more dangerous in how we're treating the Daunte Wright situation. Martin Heidegger says in the essay concerning technology that the danger of technology is that it can make us see ourselves, human beings see themselves in almost every single part of the world. And if we see ourselves in every single thing in existence, we will try to morph those things, so his theory goes, in our image. And that can cause bad consequences. So I don't, regardless of if you agree with that or not, I think that the same kind of way technology could possibly make us see ourselves in every part of the world could be the same kind of way that emotions make us see ourselves in everything in the world. A lot of people, including the Obamas, including Kamala Harris, are using their racial essentialist paradigms that hold race as the primary value by which we should weigh things, including things that are black adjacent or race adjacent, and they are coupling that with emotion. And by coupling that in emotion, and by themselves being people of color who have the paradigm of lived experience, they are seeing themselves in these situations. And the danger of that is kind of like the danger of seeing yourself everywhere in the world. You will try to have things in the world reflect and cast upon your image. So it's a personal thing now. This was not an individual, according to these people who got shot, unfortunately, by an officer who should be punished, in my opinion, who absolutely was right to resign. This is not a individual instance. This is an instance in a sort of collective systemic attack on black people, and this is a personal offense to them. And this is not just in relation to this shooting. Barack Obama himself said, "I would take it as a personal insult if you did not vote for Hillary Clinton." That's what Barack Obama himself said when she was running against Donald Trump. "I would take it as a personal insult if black people did not vote for Hillary Clinton." Because he sees himself everywhere. This sort of ubiquity of self is what's killing us, my friends. Look, and this situation is still developing. Daunte, there appears to have been some problems with his malfactor behavior. He appears to have been into some criminal stuff, but that is not relevant to what happened. What's relevant to what happened is that this officer made a very risky call, which did not pay off, and this officer needs to face recourse for her mistakes. But I do think with the current information we have right now, we should understand this solely as a mistake, one that must be recompensed for, but a mistake nonetheless. We need to stop making ourselves ubiquitous and reading ourselves in a sort of a interpretive fashion into every single thing that happens in the world. My friends, the world is not about you. This is a reality that is constituted of objective facts that have nothing to do with you. And to think it does is to try to condense reality to a single quality, to do what Hannah Arendt, the great political theorist of the 20th century, called creating a fictitious world and trying to weigh the real world against all of that. The problem with this is the real world comes and smacks you in the face. For the Obamas and for Kamala Harris, they are in positions of power, and they can kind of push this kind of stuff without actually facing the consequences of it, but their policies will eventually run up against the real world. Reality is dominant, dynamic, and it is resolute, my friends. It does not, and it will not cater to the subjective musings and whims of us. You need to take that paradigm, take that sentiment, and apply it to this. Leave emotions on the side. I am sorry that someone lost their son. I'm sorry that a family is grieving. It's hard for me, myself, to look at this kind of stuff. Not because I'm black, because I am an individual and I love people. I have to get up in front of this camera every day and talk about issues that affect people's lives every single day. And I have to do it so much stuff from all kinds of people. People who love me, people who don't love me. And I want to do it because guess what? It's something special. It's something divine almost. But when I see so many people using the life of one person as a political football, when I see so many people not recognizing the limits of their humanity and seeing themselves in everything, when I see so many people not embrace that spirit of epistemic humility that is essential to understanding any problem, when I see so many people thinking they can absolutize the world by their single quality and not understand this world is a consummate sum of so many different things, when I see so many people attacking someone ad hominem wise because of a mistake or a thing they did rather than focusing on what happened to them, when I see so many people doing this stuff, I want to weep. I want to weep. But as the old spiritual says, keep your eyes on the prize. No matter what. The only thing that we did wrong was staying in the wilderness too long. That's what that spiritual says. So let's get out of the wilderness, my friends. The wilderness of seeing yourself in everything. The wilderness of seeing all things in the world through a single lens. In the case of the Obamas and the Harris, it's race. Let's get out of the wilderness. Let's adhere to facts. And let's try to make a dispassionate judgment about the events that happened in Brooklyn Center not too long ago. The police chief has now resigned. The officer has resigned. Let's continue to monitor this, but let's make sure that we're not viewing things either through the lens that he is a criminal and should deserve to die, or the lens that he is a black man and was killed by an oppressive system. Neither of those claims are true. Think on it. As always, my friends, I love you. And please, if you want to support this channel, donate to me on Patreon, patreon.com/officialcwatson. That is patreon.com/officialcwatson. I love you guys so much. Please be all right. Please keep your head straight. Please remain calm. And also, most importantly, most fundamentally, please stay pensive. Bye-bye, guys.